Okay. So if you want to create a stored procedure in database is something which we were discussing. So if you want to create stored procedure in the database, this is the syntax that you need to be following. Create procedure, then a procedure name you need to be mentioning. So over here a procedure name. Okay. So the opening bracket, closing bracket is there. Inside this a parameters which you need to be passing. What is that? We will see about it. Then there is something called as big parameters is something which you need to be passing. Then begin, next end. Between this begin and end you need to be inserting the query that you wanted to execute. That is nothing but body of the procedure which you will be calling it as. It is clear for everybody. This is about you creating a stored procedures inside your database. I am not talking about JDBC now. Okay. Now what are the parameters you will be passing over here? At least do you guys able to recollect with that? No. No one? Okay, fine. Anyways, let's continue. Let's take up one question over here. This is the question. Count number of employees of a specific department is a question. Can you tell me what is the query for this? Select. What is the query to print the number of employees working in a specific department? Are you guys like forgot SQL itself? Then group by. You need to be making use of an aggregate function called as count, using which you can achieve this. What is the query if you ask me? It's select count of star from employee where department equal to name of the department which you need to be specifying, and this is the query for you. And let me tell you, aggregate function is one of the important like interview questions which is commonly asked. There are 5 aggregate functions which you will come across. Okay. So SQL, revise it very well. It's very small set of concept comparative to other subjects actually. Okay. Anyways, this particular query whatever we have written, I will convert it into a stored procedure. How you will be converting? Same step I will be following. Create procedure, procedure name, parameters, begin, end. Body of the procedure I have put, this is nothing but your query I have written it. Clear? Now, I have told department name. This department name right now whatever you have written, it is like this value I want to take it from my user. If they say HR department, I want to say how many employees are working in a HR department. If in case department name is IT, I want to say in how many employees are working in the IT department. So this value is nothing but what it is acting like? It's an input which is considered over here. Input where we are taking it from a user. Where is the output part? From which parameter I am getting the output? Count of star, which will give you a count of how many number of employees working in that particular department is a output for you. I hope it is clear. So that is an input, department name, count of star is an output which is and the parameters what I need to be passing is input and output I need to be passing. So user entered value will be stored inside one variable, that is an input for the stored procedure. Now count of star is an output which I need to be sending for a user. I hope it is clear for everybody. In the parameters I need to be writing 2 things, one is an input and output. If you want to mention input in the parameters, you need to be representing it by in. If you want to get the output, then you need to be representing it by out. I hope it is clear for everyone. So department name I want to take it from a user, I will be making use of a in. So input I will be mentioning it over here. I am mentioning the procedure name as count of employee I am mentioning. Now I will give a parameters for that. First parameter which I am giving is department name, which I am specifying it over here. In means this department name whatever I am considering, it is an input. Okay, this is a variable name which you are considering, which is a department, and next is a data type which you need to be specifying. I hope things are clear. So department is an input parameter which I am expecting, and this department is of type varchar. Next, Output also I need to be specifying. Output, how you will be representing? It is represented by out, a variable. And what is the data type of this output? What is the data type of this output? Integer. So what, how exactly I need to be specifying? Out, variable name as well as a data type. Same thing I am specifying it over here. I hope things are clear for everybody. Now user entered value will be stored inside this particular variable department. Whatever the value that is being entered by the user, that department count only you need to be giving for a user, correct or no? So department equal to what I need to be specifying? Department. I hope things are clear. So whatever the variable name I have specified, I will be replacing over here. Department I have specified. Now output, where it is available? Inside count of star. It is giving you a output. That output I need to be storing inside this variable number of employee. How can I store it? Count of star value, I want to store it inside number of employee. If you want to store it, then you need to make use of one keyword. The keyword is into is a keyword using which you can store. How exactly? If you ask me, count of star, and I will be saying it as into number of employee. Then output value will be stored inside your number of employee variable. I hope it is clear for you. And this is how you will be creating a stored procedure inside your database. Things are clear for everybody? How to create a store procedure in your database, which you have already learned. It was just a recap of it. Okay. Let's go back and create the store procedure inside your database first. Then we'll see about how to call the store procedure from your JDBC. Okay. So let me take you back. Okay. So here is the JDBC which we are working with. An employee table is available. Now inside this I want to create a store procedure, and you can clearly see there is one section you can clearly see it is a store procedure. Now if you want to create a store procedure, just right click on this and ask to create it. Okay. Now same thing I am doing. I will right click on this and I will say it as create store procedure, how it is showing an option. Now a template will come. Now you create it. Okay. So new procedure it is giving. First I will be giving you a name of the procedure, which is nothing but count employee. Okay. Next I need to be giving a parameters. One is a input parameter, one more is a output parameter. Input is your department name. Input is your department name. So I will be saying it as department name. And what is the data type of it? Varchar. So whatever the size you want to mention, you can mention it. Next is nothing but a output parameter, because this store procedure contains input as well as output it will be giving. That's why. So I'll give it as out. And what is the name I'll be giving it as is count employee. Okay. And the data type of for it is int. Parameters we have specified. Next it's about you writing a query. What is the query I need to be writing? Select count of star into whatever we have written, you can mention it over here, or else I'll say it as number of employees itself. Okay. Inside this it will be, I'll just copy and paste it over here. Okay. Next, from employee. Next, where department equal to department name, which has been given by the user. So I'll copy this and I'll be pasting this. I'll put a semicolon. Okay. This is how you are creating. Now click on apply and finish, so that a store procedure will get created. I'll click on this apply symbol and I'll be clicking on apply, finish. Now store procedure is being created. To just check whether it's created or not, you can clearly see a drop down is created now and count EMP is available now. A store procedure is. Let's execute and check whether it really works or not is something. Okay. I'll just over here there is a symbol available at the end. I'm just clicking on it symbol. I'll execute. Observe, pop-up has appeared, one is input and one more is output. I need to be giving a department name as input, it will be specifying the output, okay. I'll give the department name right now as HR. So, if I wait to execute, it will execute the store procedure and tell me how many employees are working in your HR department, and if I wait to execute, you can clearly see there are 6 employees who is working in a HR department. I hope things are clear for everybody and there is no doubt. This is how you will create a store procedure inside your JDBC. Now, let's see how to call this store procedure from your JDBC is something which we are going to be learning. Okay, let me just take you back. And one thing, I am not explaining how to call this store procedure through your SQL. I think you guys have learnt all these things in your SQL classes already. I am just going to be teaching you how to call this from JDBC alone. Okay, let me take you back. Now, how exactly you need to be calling means, again you need to be following the same 5 steps what we have done follow. What is the 5 steps? Load the driver class. Okay, next. Connection to your database, establishing connection to your database. Next, create a SQL statement. Next, execute SQL statement, process the result. Create a SQL statement. How many times of create statement you have seen right now? How many types of statement you have seen? Create statement and prepare statement. When you have to make use of create statement? Yes, when we are not taking input from the user, that's when you have made use of create statement. When you have made use of prepare statement? When you want to take input from the user, that's when. So, over here, when you are working with a stored procedure, the first step, loading a driver class, remains same. The next step, getting a connection to your database, also remains same. The third step, create a SQL statement, is going to be changing. So, when you are working with a store procedure, it's not like you need to be calling create statement, nor even you need to call a prepared statement. There is one more method available, which is prepare call you need to be calling now. I hope it is clear. Now, you need to be working with a prepare call when you are working with a stored procedures. Okay. Let us see how exactly the steps go now. So, what I am doing, I am just calling now. Prepare call is a method which I need to be calling. This prepare call will accept the parameters. Usually in the Java normal code, you used to create a methods, right? Okay. So, if method accepts parameter means when you are calling that particular method, will you pass a parameters, arguments? There is a method which you have created and it accepts 2 to 3 parameters. In that case, if you want to call that method, you will be passing any parameters or you will not pass any parameters? You will pass a parameter. For example, fun is a method available, it accepts int a, int b, int c. Now, if I want to call a fun method, shall I call directly just fun? Will you execute that particular fun method? Will it execute? No. What I need to pass? Parameters. Now also what I am doing? I am calling store procedure and that store procedure is accepting certain parameters, correct or not? Yes or no? What are the parameters accepting? Input and output. So, don't you think while calling that particular method, I need to be passing a value for it? Because through this only I am calling means input also I need to be giving over here itself. I hope it is clear. So, how exactly I can proceed further means inside this I need to be putting one flower bracket. So, like this I am just putting a inside this code I am just putting a flower bracket. Inside this I need to be calling that. Call, and what is the name of the store procedure which we have written over there? Count employee. I need to be calling that store procedure because in any database you are dealing with, it's not one store procedure you will be having, n number of store procedure you might have come across, but which store procedure you want to execute, you need to call that. So, this is how you need to be calling. Call and the name of the procedure I need to be telling, and this is the name of the procedure. I hope it is clear. Now, you have called the store procedure which is accepting a parameter. How many parameters? How many parameters? One parameter, two parameter, one is input and one. Two parameters, two question marks you need to be putting because I need to pass a value for it now. So I am putting two question marks over here. So over here the first one is also unknown, the second one is also unknown for me. I hope it is clear for it. This is how you will be calling a stored procedure. Now observe this and carefully and tell me, is it complete or incomplete? It's complete or incomplete? Incomplete. Whenever question marks you have encountered, it is an incomplete which you are calling. Stored procedure you are calling, but you are not passing value for it, correct or no? Now the next step is you need to set a value for it. How can you set a values for it? So using a setters that is available, you can set a values. The first parameter is nothing but your first placeholder. First question mark is nothing but first placeholder. Second one is nothing but second placeholder. The first one, what is that we are passing? First, what is the first parameter? What we have written? String. Department name is a input parameter. Next one is a count, which is nothing but number of employees, which is nothing but your output parameters, correct or no? So now let's focus on setting an input parameter. If you want to set an input parameter, setter is available. How can I call this as set? And what is the data type of it? String. Set string is a method which I need to be calling. Same thing I am doing it over here. Set string. And this set string accepts again two parameters. So I am just mentioning it over. What is the first parameter is nothing but a placeholder. What is the placeholder over here? 1. I need to be mentioned. The next one is a value which you will take it from a user. Same thing I am specifying over. Any doubts in this particular part? Okay. The second parameter, whatever is there, is that an input parameter? Output parameter. For an output parameter, is that you have to set a value? No, it should give the output for you, correct or no? So for the output parameter, it should not be like you should set a value for it. But what is that you need to be doing is, you need to set a data type of output parameters. What you need to do? Data types you need to be setting it. How can I set it if you ask me? Then there is one method available using which you can set the data type for your output parameters. What is the method? Register out parameter is a method available using which you can set the data type for output parameter. Again, it accepts two parameters. The first parameter is nothing but a placeholder. What is the placeholder? 2. Mention that. Now I need to be mentioning a type of it. What is the type of this? Integer. So when you are mentioning integer, you cannot say int. How you will be saying in data types, it cannot say. I need to make use of a wrapper class integer I need to be saying, okay. But I cannot directly say all these things. There is one class available inside which they have defined all the data types already. All the data types that you will come across inside your database will be available inside that class. Using the class name, I need to be calling this particular int, okay. So the class name only is called as a types dot, I can say it as now integer. Clear for everybody? I will open this types class and show you about what all are the classes are available, but this is how you can set a data type of your output parameters. I hope it is clear. Now it is like a complete query. Incomplete query has become a complete query. What is the next step inside your 5 steps? Execute query. Till now, what are the methods you have seen when it comes to execute the query? Execute query, next execute update. When you have made use of execute query? For a select statements you have made use of execute query. When you have made use of execute update? Insert, update, delete. You have made use of a execute update. Now when you are working with a prepare call, you should not be using execute query or execute update. Instead, there is one more method which is available. The method name only is called as the execute is a method available which you need to be calling now. Okay, I am just calling a execute method. Any doubts in this particular part? Clear for everyone. Now, execute method will execute this particular query that is up. And what is the output it is returning you? One query we are executing, what the query will return you? Number of rows or number of employees working? Number of employees working in specific department. One integer value it has been written. Do you want to extract that integer value? Yes or no? So how you can extract means using getters. Now you need to be extracted. That is only called as a processing the results over here. Okay. Now execution has happened. Using getters I want to extract that particular value. How you can call the getters if you ask me? There is a get methods available. Get, along with that you need to be specifying the data type of the output. What is the data type of the output over here? Integer. Then you need to call a method called as get int is a method call. Okay. So I am just calling a next is get int. Now this get int I will accept again one parameter. What is the parameter means? Inside which particular placeholder the output is being placed. Inside which particular parameters the output is being placed. First or second? Second placeholder. Mention that particular placeholder over here so that it can extract that output. So I need to pass a 2 over here. Then it will fetch that particular output and give it over here. So it will return you an integer value which you can collect it and print it. I hope it is clear for you. And if you do this much, you will be able to call a store procedure through your JDBC. Any doubts in this particular part? Clear for everybody? Let's go execute and check is it really working or not, you are able to execute properly or not is something which we'll see. Okay. Let me take you back. Okay. So I'll create one separate class itself. I'll name it as program 7. So let me just copy few things which is nothing but your username, URL, password I am just copying. Let's follow the step. Anyways, first step is loading a driver class, and you know in recent version it has been like automatically load of a driver class will happen. It is not necessary for you to load. So let's go for the next step which is connection. How can you do that? Driver manager dot get connection, and this get connection methods accepts 3 parameters. I am passing those 3 and I will get the reference which I will name it as con. Obviously it is giving you exception. What kind of exception? Check the exception. In this what? SQL exception it is providing. I will handle it using try catch. Okay. Next. What is the next step? Create a SQL statement. Now what I need to do? Using this con, what I need to be calling? Prepare call. There are 3 statements which we have seen. One is create statement, prepare statement, prepare call. Okay, I need to be calling prepare call now. So I'll also call prepare call. For that I need to be passing a parameter. First, it is accepting a string, and compulsory if you want to call a flower bracket is mandatory. Then call I need to be mentioning, after which I need to be telling us procedure name. And what is the procedure name which we are provided as? Count employee. Is it complete name or CNT? Count employee, correct? Let's cross verify once before we proceed. Okay, yeah, count employee, COUNT. Okay, and I need to be passing, I am passing certain parameters I am mentioning. How many parameters I am passing? 2. So put 2 question mark. I hope it is clear for you. So I will get the reference, I will name it as statement itself, and you can clearly see the type is callable statement. Okay. Now use whatever we have written this, is it a complete or incomplete? Incomplete. What I need to be doing now? Yes, using setters you need to make it as a complete. So what I will be doing, using this statement, I need to be calling a method called as set string. So first one is a placeholder which I need to be mentioning, which is nothing but 1. Next is a value which I want to take it from a user. So what I need to do, I need to create an object of a scanner class to take an input from a user. Let me just create it. I'll create an object of a scanner class. So I'll add one statement asking user to enter the department name. Enter department name. Okay. Now I'll say it as scan dot next. I'll give it as department. Okay. Whatever user entered value, I'll pass it over here. Now setting for a input parameter is done. What is the next step? Yes, we need to mention the data type. How can I mention it? Register out parameter. What is that I need to be specifying over here? What is the placeholder? 2. Over here what I need to be specifying? Types is a class available, and inside this there is an integer, and you can clearly see integer, big int, all these things are available. I'll use integer. This is how you need to be created. Let me just open the class and show you about it. You can clearly see all the int also is there. All the data types which is being defined in your database is already available over here. I hope it is clear. And you can clearly see there is certain values it is being given. And if you guys remember one day when we were discussing about metadata type, that time I told like when we are extracting the data type name and data type, there are two methods which were available, column data type and column data type name. That time you were getting one integer value. I told you on that day. I'll show you moving ahead, there is a value that is being given inbuilt. I don't know how many of you remember. If you have practiced well, then you guys will remember. If not, anyways, ignore it. That's what I just wanted to show. That's the value it has been given over here. Okay. So integer like this, all the big int, all those particular data types is being defined inside this class. Whichever the data type you have defined inside your MySQL database, that data type you need to be calling over here. Clear for everybody? Okay. Now we have set a value for the output parameters. Next, executes. I need to be calling a method called as execute. This execute method is returning you boolean. Anyways, I'll not make use of it. What is the use of it? I'll let you know, but as of now I am not making. So execution is done. Next, after executing, output you have stored it inside that second placeholder. You need to get that output. How can I get it? Using getter. So statement dot, I need to be calling a getter, get int. And you can clearly see again a data types is available, get array, get all those things. How exactly you have defined your output, in the same way you will be getting. Over here it is get int. And what is the placeholder? 2. Whatever it returns, I am just collecting it, which I'll name it as count, and I am printing this count value. I hope it is clear for everyone. Let's execute and check whether your code works or not. And now if I wait to execute, it is asking for me to enter department name. I'll give it as HR. So how many employees are working in HR department? 6. It should give 6 as output, and you can clearly see. You give any input, your code will work fine. Now I'll give it as IT, and now if I wait to execute. Any doubts on this? So calling store pressure also, I hope it is clear for everyone. Now anybody want to make a note of it, means you can make a note now. Already made a note of it. Whoever have not done, you can copy it now. Okay. So let's move for the next. Let's see, there are few more questions which we will be solving related to store procedure itself. Okay. Let me take one more scenario. Count number of employees having salary greater than a specific salary. Okay. So can you tell me the query first? Select count of star from employee where salary is greater than user entered salary. Okay. So this is a query that is available. Select count of star from employee where salary is greater than 1000. Right now it has been written. We'll change. Now I'll put this inside your procedure. I am just putting this inside a create procedure. Count employee 1 I am saying. Okay. Next there is a begin and end, and the same query I have written over here, where salary is greater than a specific salary, which is 1000 over here, next end. Okay. Now in that, which is the input? Salary is the input. What is the output? Count is the output. What is the data type of input? One integer value. What is the data type of output? Integer. Whenever you come across with integer data, means integer in the sense input parameter, output parameter have a same data type. In that case, it is not necessary for you to have two parameters over here, one for input and one for output. Instead, you can have one parameter which will be acting as a input as well as output. I hope it is clear for you. If you have any such situation where input and output data type are same, then the parameter you will be passing is 1. How you can ensure, how you can identify, how you can tell to that, so that SQL also will treat that as an input and output, if you ask me. That is when you need to make use of a keyword called as in out. Previously we have seen separate in as well as out. Now the same variable will be represented as input as well as output. So we need to represent as in out. I hope it is clear. The keyword is, I will be saying it as in out. Next, variable name and the data type. This is how you will be recreating a store procedure inside your database. I hope it is clear for everyone. Let's go to database and create this and then try calling through JDBC. Okay. Let me take you back. So I'll create the store procedure. Create store procedure, and I'll be naming a store procedure over here as count EMP1, and I'll say query. What is the query? Select count of star from employee, okay, where salary is greater than, okay, user entered salary, correct. So what I will be giving it as EMP salary. Okay. Now I need to be specifying a parameter. Okay, what is that I need to specify? In out. What is that variable I need to be specifying? This is a name which I need to be specifying. And what is the data type? Int. Now whatever user entered value is there, that we are giving it over here. Okay. But whatever the count value is being given, that do you want to store it inside this particular variable employee salary? Yes or no? Because it is helping you to take or store input as well as output, both it will be storing. So whatever count of star it is returning, you store it inside your EMP salary. I hope it is clear. So what I will be saying it as into EMP salary and put semicolon. I hope it is clear for everyone. Let me just create it. I will click on apply, finish. And now over here count employee 1 has been created. Let's execute and check whether it works or not. And now if I wait to execute, it is asking for a salary. I will give it as 10,000. So now whoever is an employee whose salary is greater than 10,000, that count it will be returning you. Okay. And now if I wait to execute, there are 6 employees whose salary is greater than 10,000. Clear? How to create a store procedure in this case when it is in out is clear. Now the next step is calling that store procedure through your JDBC. I want you to write the code first. Okay. One small mistake. Done. 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 Yes or no? Okay, fine. Listen to this. So over here it is just replaced into num. We have already written this. Okay, semicolon is not there. So let's see how to call this. If you want to call the store procedure, now the same 5 step I need to be following. What is the first step? Load the driver class, it remains same. Next step, getting connection to your database, it also remains same. Next step is create a statement. How you will be creating? Using prepare call. I need to be calling prepare call method, inside which I need to be putting double quote, flower bracket, that remains same. I am putting all those things also. Next, what is that I need to be saying inside this? Call and procedure name I need to be calling. Say I am doing the same thing, call and the procedure name I am saying. Okay, here the name is different, but you know what is the name that you have. Now this particular store procedure, how many parameters it is accepting? How many parameter? Just now we created one parameter which is accepting as a input as well as the output, correct? So I need to put one question mark over here. I hope it is clear. Now whatever you have written, is it a complete or incomplete? Incomplete means what is the next step? Setting a values and making it complete. Okay. So what is that I need to be doing? Which method I need to be calling? Setting a value. What is that value you want to set? Is it input parameter or output parameter? Both, correct. Now you need to set input as well as output for this. The one variable is acting as input and output. So both the things you need to be doing. So first set the input value for it. How can I do that? Set, and what is the data type? Int. Set int I need to be called. Sorry, it is set string, it has been written, but it is set int only I need to be. And how many parameter it accepts? 2 parameters. So I am just passing 2 parameters. The first parameter is, what is the placeholder? 1. And the next one is a value. I will pass that. Bracket is there. Okay. Next is, I need to set a data type of output parameter also, because this is acting as input and output. For both the things, the define is same over here. How can I set a data type of output parameter? Register out parameter. Same process I need to be doing, register out parameter. And it accepts again 2 parameter which I am defining over here. What is the first parameter I need to be saying it as? Placeholder. What is that? 1. Same thing I need to be saying. And what is the data type? Types dot integer. Same thing I am saying. Integer. What is the next step? Now it become complete or incomplete? Complete. Next, execute. Just call the method called as execute. Next step, get int, because the data type of the output is integer. Using getter you are getting it. Get int, and what is the placeholder I need to pass over here? 1. And if you pass it, you will be able to get the number of employees whose salary is greater than a specific salary. Is it clear for everybody? So it is almost the same, just a minute changes you need to be doing in your code. Clear? Let's go to the JDBC and do this small modification and check whether it works or not. So what are the changes I need to do in my code? Any changes in this? Okay, 1 question mark. Any other changes? Store procedure name. Okay. Here we are creating a object of a scanner. Okay, any changes in this? Salary I need to be taking. So enter salary I will be writing. So obviously it should be int. So I will give it as int and I will say it as salary. Okay. So set int and I will be passing salary. Okay. Any other changes? Placeholder of register out 1. Okay. Any other? Getter is also 1. Okay. Let's execute now. So previously I have given it as 10,000. Let me first give the same thing. What should be the output? Are you getting the output? I will give a different value now. I will give it as 12,000, and now if I wait to execute, you can clearly see. So this is how you can call the store procedure when both are working as in and out. Is it clear for everybody? So can we see one more last variations that is available inside store procedure? Okay. The last variation is retrieve all employees having salary less than a specific amount. I hope it is clear. Question, query. What is the query? Select. What is the query for this? Select star. Okay. From employee where salary less than specific salary. Let me just bring the query. So select and it is star only. Okay. From employee where salary is less than a specific salary. Okay, this is one. Over here I have mentioned as 5,000. Now this I need to be putting inside store procedure. Let me just bring the store procedure, create procedure, procedure name which I am mentioning, begin as well as end is available. I am just bringing the query also, grade less than 5,000 and I am. Now what is the parameter I need to be passing over here? How many parameter I need to pass over? 1. What is that parameter? Input or output or in out? Input. What about output? Huh? What is the output? Output over in this case. Right now select star means we are reading whole particular table data itself, correct? In that case it is not necessary for you to have a output parameter. No need to have a output parameter. Just have only one parameter which is your input parameter. I hope it is clear. When it is a case, when you are reading whole data itself, that is when this is a case. Okay. So what is the input parameter, which is your salary is your input parameter, and what is the data type of it? Int. So same thing I am specifying in number and it is of type integer. Okay. This is how you will be creating a store procedure. Num is replaced over here with 5,000. This is about creating store procedure where only input parameter you have, no output parameter. I hope things are clear. Let's go to the database and create this and then call using your JDBC. Okay. Let me go to your database and create this. I am just creating a store procedure. I will name it as retrieve, and what is the parameter it is accepting? Input. Okay, in num and data type is int. Okay, query select star from employee where salary is less than num. This is a query. Okay, and now if I wait to execute, click finish, and you can clearly see a retrieve is already available. Let's execute now. Only in the pop-up you can clearly see input parameter is the only thing which is available. Let me just give it as 8,000. All those employees who are working or whose salary is less than 8,000, you should be getting displayed with. And now if I wait to execute, you can clearly see there are 2 employees who is working with a salary less than 8,000. So same details I have to extract it from a JDBC right now. Clear for everybody? Okay. Let's go and see how exactly I can call this and I can execute and I can get the same details inside my JDBC something. Okay. So again, follow the same 5 steps. When you are working with a JDBC, the steps are remaining same 5 steps I need to be following. Okay. Let's see how exactly. What is the first step? Load the driver class. Next, getting connection to your database. Next, create a statement. Which statement? Prepare call. I am calling the same thing. Okay. So inside this I need to be calling. I am just calling call. What is the name of the store procedure? I need to be calling that. Over here I am just saying that retrieve employee. Okay. What is the how many number of parameters it is accepting? 1 parameter I am passing. Okay. Now, what is the next step? Set the values. Whatever the question mark is there, whatever the parameter is that input output both or only input parameter? Only input. So, what is that we need to have? Only the setters I need to have. Register out parameter I should not be having over here. So, what is that set? What is the data type? Int. I need to be calling that. I will call the set int, remove, just ignore that set string. How many parameters it accepts? 2 parameter. The first one is a placeholder. The second one is a val. Okay. Next step, execute. I will execute it, remains. Next step, get int. You are getting an integer value. Usually table, whenever it comes to, it is returning to your JDBT, what is that you will consider it as? Result set you have considered, correct or no? So, now whenever you want to extract the whole table kind of data, then you need to be calling a method called as get result list is a method available. Using, it is not set, it is list which is available, using which you can extract all the data. So, again it is it will return you object. What you need to do? Processing of the results which you need to be doing. Whenever it comes to result list or result set, it should always remember that you need to be processing that particular result set. I hope it is clear. That is what is nothing but get result set will be returning. I hope it is clear when you are returning whole table. Okay. Let us go back and do this step and check whether it works or not is something. Okay. Let me take you back. Okay, what are the changes? So, let me just copy this name whatever is there. Okay. First, this line, any changes? Procedure name. Okay. How many parameters? Same. Okay. Over here, any changes in this? Any changes? No. Okay. Over here, any changes set int? Okay. This one? It is required or not required? Not required. Let me delete. What about this one? It is required. Okay. What about these two? Not required. Now what I need to do? Using which I need to be calling it as get result set. Whatever it returns, I am just collecting it over here, which is nothing but your results. Once you got the result set, what is the next step you need to do? Process. How you can process it? Using, yes, result dot next. Using that you can do that. So what you can do it? I will say it as while result set dot next. Inside which what I need to be doing? I will have one print statement. Using getters you can extract the values. Okay. So result set dot get int. What is the, you can mention the column numbers or the name of the column. I have mentioned it already. I have mentioned it using this. Okay. First one is ID, next is name, next one is email ID, next is department, salary. All the details you can extract. For first one we have extracted. Next, result set dot get string. What is the parameter I need to pass? 2. Next, result set dot get string, and what is that? 3. Okay. Next it is result set dot get string, which is 4, which is your department name. Okay. Next, result set dot get end. I hope it is clear. Here I am writing it again. If you want it, keep it in separate method. whichever the class is there, you can call it using class name, using class name. So better you have separate class and inside which you keep the method. So whenever you are required with, you can just call that particular method. It's going to be easy for you. And now if I wait to execute this, and salary I'll give it as 8,000. I'll give it as 10,000 itself. So whoever employees are working and whose salary is less than 10,000, they should get the details. And now if I wait to execute, you can clearly see all those employees, whoever salary is less than 10,000, you are getting all these details. Clear for everybody? So how to work with the store procedure and how to call that store procedure from your JDBC, I hope it is clear for everybody. If in case store procedure is already created inside your database, then it is not necessary for you to rewrite the query and execute. Just call it and make it execute. Any doubts in this particular part? So anyways, that is it for today. That's all about a store procedure. Okay. In the next class, we are going to be learning a new concept which is in JDBC itself. Okay. So whatever you have whatever you have written a code, just open that. I'll be checking with that. Then after, you guys can leave for the day. Open your laptops.